Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I am your host, John Harris. Usually on my right-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel, but he is currently at school picking up some stuff before they head on to summer vacation, since he has not been at school for the last couple of months due to unforeseen circumstances. Now, today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Holycide, who has a new album called Fist to Face, which was released on February... which was released on February 12th via Extreme Music. Right now I'm being joined by Salva to share some more information about the record and about the band and what the boys have got going on. And I'm super excited to chat about this concept because, especially right now, more than ever, I absolutely love this album cover. So, Salva, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here. It's a huge pleasure. And, about the album cover, I'm just thinking that, maybe we should have released, if we knew, the album a little bit later so we could get also the phrase from Donald Trump that you should actually inject yourself disinfectant and drinking bleach. That would be almost perfect to add it to it. But it couldn't happen.
No.
And I think that, the album cover just takes one thing that many people, I can think that they also think that when you listen to Donald Trump speaking all this hatred speech, you just want to punch him in the face. That's why it's Fist to Face called just that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do more than that. But I mean, aside from that,
but at least if you had a real chance to, only a punch, no more consequences, just a punch, wouldn't you do that? I think so, that many people would do that. I actually would do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, absolutely. I think there'd be a lineup, down out the door kind of thing. And, for those who are listening in who can't see the album artwork right now, which it should be showing up wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever. And if it's not, then it's available, obviously, on our website with the title card, www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. It is this, cyborg creature that is obviously, broken loose somewhere.
Well, it's actually aggressive, where in a thrash metal band it has to be aggressive. And if you take a close look to the album cover, it's not just going blasting from anywhere. It's staring down the wall. So it's breaking from the wall and giving a straight punch in the face. So we could translocate that idea that we're not even agree with the stupidity of the wall idea and make the Mexicans pay for that. It's just straight populism. Mm-hmm. So that's something that we wanted to reflect about in the album. We wanted to get a little bit more political, and as we get to do a more profound political commentary, we just can't be only in the all politicians are bad commentary. We wanted to get deeper and to explore why things are going that way. And the title track of the album, Fist to Face, is a reflection of these alt-right movements, policies, not only Trump, but Bolsonaro in Brazil, and we have a political party called Vox in Spain that it goes with the same phenomenon. This kind of false promises, easy promises, and blaming all the minorities of the real problems, fake solutions for real problems just to get the vote and go for the power. That kind of commentary. We wanted to go a little bit deeper in that.
Okay, perfect. So obviously it's something that, as a thrash metal band, you guys felt swept up into, or that you needed to make a comment on it. I guess, is it just to tell the story of what's going on right now, or is it kind of your own protest, or is it just artistic expression to deal with the situation of what's going on?
First of all, this is something very metal about. We think for ourselves, and we don't want to tell people how to think. So this is our own personal commentary. Of course, as we are in a thrash metal band, it has the thrash metal approach, like common places like nuclear war and things like that. There's some similarities with other bands of the genre, but it's a very personal approach because, for example, apart from the politics themes, there is a song called Trapped by the Crappy Trap in the album, that it's about how modern urban Latin somehow, trap genre style, how it's just in a surface level and almost mind erasing for its listeners. I have to say so that I and he's almost in his 40s, 50s, and sometimes some of my friends, I am actually 26 years old, and some of the friends of my age say, "Hey, you're like your band sounds sometimes like a grumpy old guy," and well, it sometimes can be, but we also state that it's very important for us to have a personal message and a personal approach, an individual approach on the subjects. So, as I said before, we touched the nuclear thing in Nuclear Fallout, because if we continue with the kind of mistakes and bad politics done by some bad politicians, and when I say bad, I say greedy, and say greedy about the power too, not to think about the rest of the society, but only for themselves and their desired power. This phenomenon plus the hate politics, it just can take to our own self-destruction as a society. So when you're looking for the apocalyptic times, nuclear thing, likely approach for that. But I think that's the point. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Now, this particular track that we were talking about, Fist to Face, is the title track of the album.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, which came first, the album title or the track title?
It was first the album title, because that track wasn't even meant to be called like that. This is the story. We were rehearsing. We wrote all the instrumental parts, and we were rehearsing in the rehearsal room. With some other song, it came the catchphrase like "face to face," and wait, I can think that we. Dave Rotten, the singer, said we can take a little turn to that, and that was fist to face, like a punch in the face. But this happened. Dave Rotten fell ill for a couple of months, and he couldn't write all the lyrics for the album. So I offered him my help, and I wrote a couple of the lyrics of the album, and Fist to Face was one of them. The lyrics of Fist to Face are mine. And it wasn't meant to be that song. Face to Face was meant to be the other song. I think the definitive. I think it was Mentality Packs. But I started writing, and it just fitted so very well in the Face to Face. Well, the project for Face to Face. And when Dave started singing, it fit. We found it fit. So it was perfect. And that was the approach that I was saying before. We wanted to make a personal reflection on this kind of politics. And that was more Dave and I talking, as we wanted to be to make the album a little bit more political. It gave me the offer to make a deeper reflection about it, because it's kind of sad knowing or thinking about this kind of alternate truth or the post-truth, because I think the strategy of these kind of movements like Trump or Bolsonaro is just to irradiate so much lies and mix them with the actual truth that compound is not the truth any longer. It's the so-called post-truth. And I think it's very dangerous, because we're falling for some very bad ideas that 5 or 10 years ago they were very frowned upon, but now it's almost legitimate to think that for example, the root of poverty lies in immigration, which is absolutely not. But it was an idea that it was very far away from the political agenda, and now it's back. So I think we're going backwards in this kind of subjects.
Okay, very cool. Now, one of the other tracks that you wanted to chat about was Empty Cyber Life. Now, I know Sal, that you were talking about the album being fairly political. So I guess, what is the political tinge to an empty cyber life, or is this just about spending our time not really paying attention to what's going on and instead spending our time having an empty cyber life?
Well, as we are metalheads and individuality lies really, it's a very important thing for metal itself. The album explores different kinds of alienation, sometimes political and sometimes through media. So the empty cyber life thing is talks about how people can get alienated from their own selves, trying to get the approval and the acceptation of everybody else from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And that's the reflection. I think as a bandmate, and the people from the band also can say this, it's that it's quite dangerous for you to lose your own self to satisfy everyone in the media, just like some kind of addiction of getting likes all around. And I think that, nevertheless, I think this is a positive message to, hey, you, stand up and be yourself. Do not be alienated by somebody else who wants just to fit in whatever. Just be yourself. I think that's the good point of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess my other question is, of all the other tracks we chat about on the album, aside from the title track, why Empty Cyber Life?
This was a song that Dave Rotten wanted to dig down in this message, because Dave Rotten is a very active profile in Facebook and in social media, and as he really feels comfortable debating and arguing with someone, and all the people in Facebook, he feels that he finds many people that just try to fit in the group in exchange of losing themselves in the process. That's alienation. So I think it's an important subject, an important matter for him. That's why Empty Cyber Life, because into this internet life, you can lose yourself in the process. You can be emptied in the process of trying to fit in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Groovy. Now, I guess the other question that I have about Empty Cyber Life is that it has a music video attached to it. So if you want to check out the music video, you can do so by going to today's show notes at www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. And I guess take us through this music video. What is going on in this music video, and what went into creating it?
Well, the story, is the visual representation of what I've said before. The story is just about our main character in the video, that is this girl that is always trying to look good in the photos and just checking and forgetting about the real life and getting very much into the cyber life. And that image is also postponed or transposed with ourselves praying. This is the first video that we make that we are only one of us per frame. We are isolated in each frame. You can see the other guitarist, Miguel, playing alone. You can see myself playing. You can see Dave singing. You can see Danny and Jorge, the drum player and the bass player. They are isolated. They are playing alone. And that's a visual metaphor for how alone can we be in the cyber, let's say, society, trying to just fit in the group. We isolate us more and more and losing ourselves in the process. And what happens in the end? That after all the images going on and around, we see that our protagonist, the main character of this video, when the video ends, is just being looked up. It's being set under surveillance of another guy, and this guy gets also looked up from other guy. So that's another thing going on there, because it gives us the possibility to think about how every member of the society is controlled by each other to just stay in the center of it and not diverging from the main parts or the main ideas of the society to just fit in. Always going back to the losing yourself just to fit into society metaphor.
Okay. Perfect. Now, I think we chatted for the most part about everything that we needed or wanted to chat about with regard to Vista Face. We've chatted about the album artwork with regard to a lot of the symbolism behind it, the wall that was being built to separate Mexico from the United States, as well as many other themes that are exemplified in the artwork. And I think that you guys have spent a lot of time making sure that everything is covered, including many of the different track titles and lyrical concepts, as far as just in general being upset about some of the backwards, I think that's the best word I can use, backwards political themes that seem to be, or have seemed to be rising in the global climate as of late.
There are songs that are complementary. This is the first one. This is one side of the coin that is face to face and the alt-right going wild all around. But there is another side of the coin. It's the last song of the album. It's called Fake Libertarian. And that song, as a response of what the, let's say, right part of the political agenda is doing, but what is the, let's say, more libertarian, more left side of the politics doing? And that song talks about the disconnection between the libertarian leftist, somehow, political leaders and the working class. It's about the disconnection in this wheel of power, in this struggle to get the power. They get disconnected to the working class, and ourselves, the working class, we get lost in the middle, in between far more fascist, racist, right parties and leftist parties going in, cultural battles and forgetting about the real working class. So we are lost in the middle of somewhere. And yes, the perspective is pessimistic, but we don't want to do this as something that you cannot improve or something that you cannot fix. It's just a warning to open your eyes and do something about it. I think that in the nowadays going on thing, it's important to just try to help and give a warning to do something about this.
With regard to what's been going on as far as, coronavirus and all that for the last arguably 6 months of the year, or at least all of 2020 so far, with this episode airing a little bit later in July, what kind of news should we expect to come from Holycide coming forward, or what have you guys been up to during this time?
Okay. Well, the coronavirus crisis, it has changed just everything. We were very keen on going on tour and promoting the album, but it happened that, now crowds, it's something, actually when you think about crowds right now, it feels a little bit awkward, but we are not able to do concerts as we have known them. And I don't think that is going to be back soon. So we have to think of something else. For example, we performed with Nuclear Fallout the stay-at-home video. We record ourselves from our homes. And right now, I think that we have to be to rely more on internet things, like going with videos of stay-at-home, more web-based releases, these kind of things. We have to find new ways to promote our music rather more than the traditional concerts. I will be very happy to be up in the States as any means can be. They're talking about the cinema, these go-to-car cinema concerts when you are staying in the car and in the scenario the band is playing. I would do something like that because I just really want to be at the stage again, but that would not be possible in a short-term place of time. But I can tell you that we have to focus more on internet and web promotion than any other things. We're even composing and writing more songs. Who knows what can bring, not even the next year, but the ending of this fearful 2020. I think that we have to rebuild ourselves and we have to do something more. And you can be sure that you will hear from us from in September, October, these kind of months. Yeah.
Okay. Very, very cool stuff. All right. Well, Salva, unless there's anything else that you wanted to throw out there that I didn't ask about, I just wanted to thank you for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast.
Oh, it's almost done. Okay, perfect. It's been a real pleasure to be here talking with you, John. I felt very comfortable doing this. So if I can say anything else, don't lose hope on music. We have experienced a very traumatic process in this lockdown and the paranoia of, am I contagious? Do I have the disease? Do I not? I am contagious people. And as we have to isolate a little bit in the good term to not contagiate the other guys, we have found how important are the soulful things to us. Not the things you can buy, not a new car. The things that really makes us live, like art, like music. So what I am certainly sure is that music will endure. And we need music to stay alive and to feel actually alive. So it's a very nice time to listen to music and to discover new music and making music to turn this into something artistic and good for everyone else. So I think that's it. I really appreciate you for letting me hear and tell the things of the band and rock on for sure.